Hello. This video is entitled how to go from being an agnostic to being an atheist. This is only in the event that your agnosticism is a result of you believing that you have to have an afterlife, and an afterlife gives you purpose to life. So you become an agnostic and you cling to agnosticism because the idea of being an atheist is too far out for you. And so how do you make that transition from being an agnostic to being an atheist if mortality is the predominant reason why you cling to agnosticism? So you have to have an afterlife in order to have meaning in your life, and you have to have a higher power in order to have meaning in your life. How do you make a transition from that to being an atheist? This may not work with everyone, but this is how I became an atheist. And it was like self-enlightenment, where I had to ask myself, what was the origins of my spiritual views, where I had to believe in a deity and I also had to believe in an afterlife? Where did that come from? And let me just put it this way, and keep in mind also that in a lot of Asian countries where we have Buddhism, Taoism in Japan, I believe, Zen and so on, there are plenty of people that are non-believers in an afterlife or in a deity that are perfectly happy and content with themselves. So it is possible to not have a belief in a higher power and to not have a belief in an afterlife and still enjoy and live a full happy life on this earth. But the question is, how do you make that transition? How I made this transition is this way, and this is what you can do as well, and this is the technique that I'm going to show you. It's not going to work for everybody, but it's going to work for some of you. What you do is, first you have to understand where it came from. Why are you concerned with the afterlife? And why are you concerned with there being a higher power? Now, just imagine and just consider that little children, are usually not aware of their own mortality. That is why we have to keep an eye on them, make sure they don't fall off a ledge or burn their hand or any of that stuff, because they're really not aware of that. Because of that, they are more happy, they're more free, they're just able to enjoy the present moment, playing their games, laughing, giggling, and not really having a care in the world. Children are truly living in the moment because they don't have that concept of mortality in their mind. And what happens is that religion steps in and snaps the kid takes the kid out of the playground and says, listen, there's something called heaven, and there's something called hell, and there's something called God, and you're going to die one day. And as crazy and as extreme as that sounds, that's literally what happens to a lot of these children. That's probably what happened to you, is that you were introduced as a child to these ideas, and eventually what happened was that you internalized those ideas. So you internalized these things, and until the pursuit of it and the concern of it became your own. So the question, what happens after we die? And, should we need to believe in a higher power? That affirmation that you have in your mind is not yours to begin with. It was put there by religious people. You were programmed to think that way, to associate your present moment with the end of your life. Which might sound, which when I put it this way sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? But it is exactly why a lot of people are agnostic. Why they reject religion But they still cling on to spirituality because they still have that programming deep inside that says, well, it's so much important for you to have an idea of the afterlife and a deity for you to enjoy this present life. Kids don't have that. They live in the moment. But you were pushed into that. And naturally, adults will get older and they will figure it out. But when you're pushed into it, then you don't know how to really enjoy your life without, this whole thing of there has to be an afterlife and a higher power. So here's the thing. If it's programming and you were brainwashed to be that way, and this was put in your head, it didn't belong to you in the first place, then you can reprogram yourself. How do you reprogram yourself? And that is what I'm going to get into right now. To cross that bridge where one day you will wake up and you will say, I'm an atheist, and I'm so fine with it. So here's how you do it. What you're going to do, and this is what I learned from meditation and psychology. What you're going to do is you're going to find a quiet room, okay? It doesn't have to be a quiet room. It could just be anywhere that you're at that you feel good. You feel really nice. You feel at peace and harmonious. You just feel you have good vibes in you. Put yourself in a situation where you feel good, you have good vibes in you, and you're just feeling great. You're comfortable, you have positive energy, and then you're going to say some affirmations. Affirmations are just statements that you're making to, make your mind more aware of things. The affirmations will follow something along this way. I'm perfectly fine with not knowing everything and not knowing what happens after I die, and I don't have to know everything in order to enjoy my present life. I do not need to have a higher power or to know the end of life to enjoy my present moment right now, here and now. As you're saying these things, okay, you can either say while you're watching a movie or listening to music, anything that puts you in a really good, because what happens is your mind is going to associate those good feelings with those statements, okay? So now you're conditioning your mind to associate those ideas with feeling good. I call that being reconnected to your original child self, where you're getting in touch with the moment and being disconnected from the future. Now you keep telling yourself this, and if you want to also meditate, when you close your eyes, you can listen to music or not, think about beautiful things that give you a sense of peace and happiness, rainbows, butterflies, flowers. Think of good things as you repeat these affirmations to yourself. And the affirmations usually go along the way of, I don't need to know everything in order to be happy in life. I'm perfectly fine with there being mysteries and things that I just don't know, and I'm not going to know everything, and I'm okay with that. It's okay not to know everything. If I don't need to know what happens to me after I leave this world to enjoy the present moment, to enjoy a slice of pizza, to enjoy a walk in the park. You can say these things literally to yourself and repeat this every day for at least an hour or however long you feel comfortable. And what's going to happen is eventually you're going to start to be in sync with that affirmation and say, wait a minute, I really don't need to know what happens to me after I die. I don't need to know all the mysteries of the universe. I don't need to believe in a higher power to be happy right now, right this moment, to enjoy a slice of pizza or a cup of coffee. I don't need to. And when you connect with that, okay, and you condition yourself to think that way, now you are in a position where you can become an atheist, okay, where you have now walked that bridge and transitioned yourself. And this is how you're going to know that it was in fact brainwashing and it was in fact. And I welcome anyone who's religious to also do that. Okay? So my atheism was not brought about from me knowing things. It was from simply me admitting to myself that I don't know everything and it's okay for me not to know. That's how I literally became an atheist. just acknowledging that I'm ignorant, I don't know everything, and how dare I claim to know everything or even, and I don't need to. There's just certain things in life that if there's no evidence for it, there's no way to examine it, you don't have to, be obsessed with it and concerned with it, And you can just live, and I'm not saying that I never think about my mortality, I'm just saying that it's not something that's present every moment, that it has to be like, because when you're an agnostic or religious or spiritual, whatever, your mortality is constantly in the moment, and you're never free from that, So it gives you a way to experience life totally differently. And so I hope that this video has helped you. Please feel free to leave any comments or questions below. Again, just use some affirmations that just talk about, how you accept those very things that you have a hard time accepting, and think positive as you're saying those affirmations. Associate good feelings with those affirmations, and you will be well on your way to conditioning yourself. It took me about a month to fully accept that. It might take you a shorter time or a longer time, but you'll start to feel it gradually, like, wow, I'm actually feeling differently, like as you go along your days and weeks and so on. So thank you for watching, and take care.